Hi, I'm Kevin Klein. Welcome to another edition of Inside Winnipeg Politics. I'm joined by two Winnipeg Sun columnists, Jeff Currier and also Royce Coop. And Royce is also a professor of political sciences at the University of Manitoba. Gentlemen, good afternoon and thank you for joining me. We have lots to talk about. I want to start this episode with a story that we ran in the Winnipeg Sun just recently about the PC of Manitoba leadership race, and one of the candidates, Obby Khan, attacking the Winnipeg Sun, but more importantly, refusing to participate in a debate. And we've learned at the Winnipeg Sun since that it's not the only debate that he has shied away from. He has shied away from others as well. So, Roy, so let's start with you. Being a political scientist, what does this say about any candidate that doesn't want to participate in a debate? Happy to do an interview and talk about this, football career, but not happy to have a debate. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think just as an observer of politics, you can probably assume that there's a feeling in Obby Khan's camp that he's the front runner, because this is a front runner strategy. If you think you're going to win, then it makes some sense to limit your exposure to places where you might say the wrong thing, you might step in a cow pie, you might make mistakes that could alienate people. And so it's understandable from a strategic perspective. From a democratic perspective, it's something that disappoints me. There hasn't been a whole lot of coverage of this race. If you're a PC party member, you haven't seen a ton of these candidates. There hasn't been a lot of opportunities to learn about what they think, learn about what their big priorities are, what kind of leader they're going to be. Both of them are going around, they're reaching out directly to people. There's little events, there's little meetings, but I would prefer to see, I would like to see candidates put themselves forward in these situations so that members can actually get to know them. They can make an informed and educated choice. And I think it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, I got to agree with Royce, Kevin, that it is disappointing. The other thing may be that from a party member standpoint or from a public standpoint, the interest is going to be low because I think it's already almost conceded that Wab Kinew is going to get 2 terms. So does this race today, right now, for the leadership of the PC party, does it really matter to it's not resonating with people because I think the general feeling that I get is that most Manitobans are of the mindset that it's going to be Kinew for 8 years and then we'll see after that. And so what happens with the PC party right now is practically an irrelevancy for most people.
Well, I agree with that, and I think that the party's obviously had a lot of issues. There hasn't been much change in the party. Their corporate structure has remained the same, if you will, in 23 Kennedy. But we've also learned today that, despite Ami not wanting to participate in a couple of debates, that now there's a group of or 17 different community groups, many of them with ties to the Muslim associations, calling for the party to remove Wally Daldridge as a candidate because of something a supporter had posted that they got onto his social media, but they took off right away. And now we're getting information and emails from people in the Jewish community that think Obby Khan should step down because of the position that he took in the legislature regarding the conflict with Hamas and between Israel and Palestine, and some comments that he made on the record. And I looked at Hansard to see if this were accurate. They are accurate. I mean, he made some comments that have offended an awful lot of people in that community. So, now we haven't even found a new leader for the Conservative Party. Well, I don't even call them the Conservative Party because they're not a Conservative Party in my opinion. They're the PC Party. We don't have a leader yet, and division is there. We've got parties that are just trying to divide and conquer. And is that the best way forward for this party, or is it time just to say, you know what, we give up. We need another party to rise out of the ashes, Royce?
Yeah, this particular kind of conflict is bad for the party. Um, on one hand, I kind of hate to see the approach that some of these organizations are taking, where you want the party to withdraw their candidacy or kick them out of the race. Well, no, like if you disagree with people, if you think they've said something wrong, then say why. create an argument, and party members will hopefully agree with you if you can make that kind of argument. It's trying to kick people out because you disagree with them, you don't like what they said, is it's no good to me. Some of the stuff we're seeing, I think, is actually pretty damaging to the party. That comment made reference to how we have to stop, quote, Muslim Obby Khan from becoming leader of the party. I've got a big problem with that, introducing that kind of religious division into a race and in a Canadian political party. I would be very upset if someone said we have to prevent Christian Bill Smith from becoming the leader of a party. We want to keep this kind of conflict out of Canadian politics to whatever extent that we can. And it is rearing its head in this race, and you really hate to see it. I think it is ultimately going to be damaging for the party.
Yeah, there's no good comes of something like this, Kevin. And you're right that you almost want to take the Etch-a-Sketch and turn it over and give it a shake and see if something new can come out of this. Uh, but in terms of it's going to be one of those two men is going to be the next leader of the Manitoba Progressive Conservative Party. So where does that take the party in the future? And can whoever it is overcome these kinds of divisions within the party? Now, again, we also don't know when it comes to some of these groups asking for the removal of a candidate. This is 21st century cancel culture at its finest, right? And if you don't like something that somebody said, make sure they never get to work again. Make sure they're banned for life. I mean, this is cancel culture at its finest. I don't know how many of the people who are calling for either the removal of one of those candidates or the other are actually members of the PC party or would even vote for the PCs, or if they're just causing trouble.
Well, and that you're right. I think you're absolutely right, Jeff. You nailed it. It's cancel culture at its best, and people love that, right? Misery loves company. But again, you sit back here and you look at what's happening, and I really do believe that this is the dysfunction of that party right now. It is divided. We are not, we should be talking to these candidates about their policies and what they want to do, as the official leader of the opposition. They have a big job to do. That's not an easy job. That's an important job. You have to hold the government accountable. There's work to be done to hold the NDP government accountable. Right now, they can do and say whatever they want. Nobody's holding them account. So the issue shouldn't be what one side supporter said or another side supporter said. The issue should be who's going to fix the issues, who's going to go after the NDP, who's going to hold them accountable, and who's going to build a conservative party. And I'm going to say it again because I know a lot of people, oh, well, you were in the party, you were in the party. I'm out of the party. I don't have a party in Manitoba as far as I'm concerned right now. And I think that that's why we need to see a conservative party come up from the ground. But maybe this nonsense of what's going on will lead us down that path finally. Maybe this is what it will take to have a new party rise from the ashes.
Rightly, right now, this race is a kind of low stakes race. I think people see it's going to be an uphill climb for the party to get back into office. They probably have at least 7 years until they can get back in. And so that leads to some of what we're seeing a little bit, undisciplined behavior. But I agree. I would like to see a lot less talk about kicking people out of the race and more talk between the candidates, more disagreement, more clarifying where they stand, more holding each other accountable. That's going to help members, and that's why things like this proposed debate and others would be useful for members, and they should go forward.
This party, though, has a history of gassing its leaders after one election loss. And if that trend holds true, whoever wins this leadership race is in for a short-term job. It's a 3-year gig. Because if they lose the next time around, then they say, well, I guess we better get another leader, because that's been the history of this party. It doesn't do for its leaders what the NDP did for Gary Dewar, as an example, and give him a couple of shots at winning, and then goes on a 16-year run. The PCs don't do that. They fire people after one election loss. So whoever wins this, well, you better have a good showing in 3 years' time, or it's, as they say in Quebec, salut le visite.